What up, what up? Allie here with the Pop Punk Pod, where we talk about pop punk albums and we rate them and review them. Today, the first episode, we got the album Aimless by Kevin Geyer. This album was released in 2010. Kevin Geyer is actually the guitarist for a band called The Story So Far, and he decided to do his own solo project. I think I read somewhere that he actually wrote and recorded this album for a college project, and I thought that was so cool because he was probably back in 2010 he was probably in his 20s, really early 20s, so checks out. But I don't know where I read that, but anyway, this record was released through Anchor 84 Records, and Parker Cannon, the lead singer of The Story So Far and No Pressure, actually did the backup vocals for Kevin's album, so that's pretty sick. This album is completely acoustic. There's an instrumental track, track 6, that has a couple other instrumentations with it, but overall the album is completely acoustic. There's 2 or 3 different layering of acoustic guitars on each track, which is super cool. Let's dive in, I guess. We got track 1. It's called Nearsighted. I love this. Okay, this whole record is so beautifully done. It's beautifully recorded, and sonically is so tight and so well knit together, and lyrically especially. The album's called Aimless, and that's actually also track 8, the title track. But lyrically throughout the entire album is so, it's so cohesive. The album is called Aimless for a reason, because all the lyrics on every song, there's something connected with that, in that he's either aimless in life or, not knowing what the future holds. And there's so many good lyrics in this album that relates to being aimless and wandering. Also, you know what? Hold on. I want to talk about the album cover here for a second, because I think it ties really, really well in with the concept of aimlessness, as well as just the whole vibe sonically of the album, musically and lyrically. I think I already said that, but this album cover is it looks like it's just Kevin standing on the street. He's got a fence behind him. There's a stop sign to his right, and there's this large light above him, like a street light, but he's facing away from it. So the light is behind him and above him. He can't see it, and there's also a stop sign to his right. And I think that looking at that and that whole concept with this aimlessness is so fitting, and it's such a powerful statement. I don't know if he chose to do, if he tied all those things in on purpose, or if I'm just seeing them, but I think it's a perfectly built album cover going along with the content of the album. I think it's beautiful the way if he chose to do that it's just wow. Yeah, but first track on the album is called Nearsighted. Let's listen to a piece of it here. It comes in with the guitars like a fade in almost. He does say fence. He says fence in the album, and there's a fence on the album cover. I think that's so cool. I don't know if that's at all tied together, but this first track has a lot of cool things going on. You hear Parker in the background. You can hear him on this track. You can hear him on basically every track, I think, except for the instrumentation album, or the instrumental track. And his background vocals, I think, mesh really, really well with Kevin's. Kevin's used to doing backup vocals for Parker in their band, The Story So Far. So I think it's really cool that Parker was able to back up Kevin on this project. And I love how Parker's power when he sings on this album is so kind of a whole 180 to Kevin's vocals. Kevin has this, more... He does sing powerfully, but it's not as yelly as Parker kind of sings. Parker has described his voice as yelling on key in the past, and I think that's totally accurate. My mom, anytime I listen to pop punk, she's like, why are they yelling? Like, especially on A Part of Me by Neck Deep, that song. She's like, he's playing an acoustic guitar and he's yelling. Like, why is he yelling? And I'm like, Mom, that's just the vibe. That's just the genre of music. Like, that's how these singers sing. And I think it's really cool that Parker brings that energy into this project, even though that whole album is acoustic and kind of this mellow sound. I think that was a pretty cool stylistic choice for them to do that. There's, in the bridge, Parker does some vocals. And there's that grit that he has behind his voice when he's going whoa, with Kevin's overlapped lyrics. It just sounds so cool. The guitars in the bridge also, dude. The guitars in this whole album. Kevin Geyer is freaking like my favorite guitarist probably of all time. At least one of them. I mean, he's up there. He is so technical in his ability, and his finger picking skills are just phenomenal. I'm boggled by his skill. I mean, all of these songs are finger picked. I mean, he's the lead guitarist in the story so far for a reason, because what can't this guy do, in my opinion? The second track is called Friendly Fire. Parker's harmonies in this one they're really cool. I don't know how much I have to really say on this one, but picking out pieces of it, I guess. Skip through a little here. Oh yeah, this is where Parker comes in. Their harmonies underneath and over each other, and they're back and forth. Very cool. Like, they're interwoven with each other. They're not just like, Parker's not just harmoning over Kevin. It's like they have two different vocal parts, and I think he does that a lot in this album. And I think that just adds a lot more depth to the music itself sonically, but also lyrically. Having these two voices go back and forth, kind of, it just totally ties the whole thing all together. No Foul, No Harm is track 3. The guitar at the beginning is pretty cool. You get these two, the technical lead part in the back, as well as the chords strumming over. There's a lyric in here that's so powerful. I'd rather be shot down than judged by your self-righteousness. The lyrics and the guitars are so good. Track 4, we got Stay That Way. This song is really cool because it talks a lot about the past, and he says, the first line is, sent back 12 years to where my hopes and fears were all I'd feel. Back when I still believed that someday wasn't something real. Ugh, that line right there gets me every time. Because that's exactly like how kids feel when you're looking into the future and you say, someday I'll do that. Someday, someday is never like a legitimate day in people's minds when they say that. And I think that him saying that was just so, back when I still believed that someday wasn't something real. Like us as kids, you don't think that someday will ever come. But then you keep going, you live life, and there it is. Someday happens, someday always comes. And I think, as children, we get blocked by our dreams are sometimes too big for us to even like think that would ever like happen type of thing. And it just, I just love that line. There's so much power and realness to it that just super good. I've talked to people in the past about this album, like through just people through the internet, like on Reddit or Instagram, about people thinking that Parker does the other guitar in this album. I mean, there are so many guitars layered on top of each other within all of these tracks, and because they think that, oh, Parker's harmonizing, Parker's lends these vocals, he's also must be playing guitar while Kevin's doing the other guitar. And I'm like, Parker is awesome. Like, Parker can play guitar, great, but Parker is not playing guitar on this album. Like, all these guitars are tracked by Kevin, and like, there's no way that Parker would be able to have that much technicality in playing guitar for the other parts for this album, because these guitar parts are 110% Kevin Geyer. You can just hear it in the way that he plays, and just the stylisticness of them is just unmatched. This guy's insane. Track 5 is called Evian or Evian. I'm not sure if that's a girl's name or who that is or what it's about really, but let's take a look here. There's a couple lines in this song that hit home. There's one that says, and in any situation, there's one reason to not begin. And that's so true. Like, anything in life, there's always going to be something mentally or externally that we're going to be like, oh, I can't do that. There's always going to be a but, I want to do this, but blah, blah, blah. Like, I love how he takes these real life experiences, he takes these phrases and these things that everybody relates to, and he puts it in these lyrics and these words that just totally hit home for, I feel like, a lot of people can relate to the words that he says. Another line he says in this song, track 5, he says, I can't complain because blessings last longer than pain, but somehow they feel the same. Like, blessings and pain are two totally different things, yet sometimes that's how it feels. Like, sometimes we're on these highs in life and, everything's going great, but there can also be a lot of pain in those moments, and sometimes something can come as a blessing, but it's also maybe like not necessarily a curse in disguise, but you could still be going through something bad even if you do get little blessings, Anyway, he just has a lot of lyrics that are really relatable and powerful. Track 6 is called Instrumental, but the INSTRU, the instra, is in parentheses, so it just leaves mental. I think that's so cool. I don't know exactly what it means, like what he intended for it to mean, but the whole track is instrumental. And this is the track that actually has a lot of other instrumentation into it. It starts off with this acoustic guitar, and then there's an electric that's added, and later on there's a piano too. And the way it's all interwoven in with each other is amazing. His layering of instruments throughout this entire track is so methodical. There's a piano in the back there. This part's cool. It almost sounds like there's a cello in there. There's like a drone in the back, a low drone. I don't know what it is, but all those instruments put together with no vocals, it just proves how amazing of a musician Kevin is. I don't know if it's necessarily him playing the piano. It might actually be his friend, Ryan Torf, who plays drums in the story so far. It could be him. I know he plays piano, but I have no idea. It might say it in like the credits of the CD, but I don't remember. I do have this CD. Actually, cool story with that. I bought this CD of Kevin Geyer's Aimless back in 2019 or 20, I want to say. Probably 2019. From Anchor 84 Records. And I think the dude's name is Cody. I want to say his name is Cody. The guy that owns the record company label. And I bought this CD, and he gave it to me in the mail. It was around Christmas time. And it came in the mail with like 3 other CDs and like some other merch, like posters and stickers and stuff from other bands off the label. And he wrote like a personalized little note, and he was like, "Thank you so much for buying the last of 4 Kevin Geyer CDs that we have in stock." And I was like, he like wrote a little note about like, since it's like the holidays are around, like here's some other goodies for you. And it was like just like this handwritten note, and I still have it because it's so cool that he took the time to do that. And that was so cool that it's a small record label, but that stuck with me. I thought that was cool that he took the time to do that. And I don't even think they have any more Kevin Geyer CDs. Like, I think I definitely did buy one of the last ones, but I don't even know. I don't think they have any more in stock now, which is sad because I would totally buy another one because I love this album. Anyway, that was a cool experience. Track 7 is called Breaking Progress, and it starts, there's a verse. He says, the verse at the beginning is just Kevin singing, and then he sings that verse again later in the song with Parker doing his harmonies, and I love how he not only sang the same verse, but gave it to us first just as a solo, and then sang it again later with the harmony on top of it. I think that is just so, I love that he did that he took something to begin with and then added something, put a little pizzazz to it or whatever. Because I feel like some artists harmonize throughout the entire song, and I'm like, okay, we don't need that much harmony, like we don't need all these layers. Let's just strip it down, just take one piece at a time and then build up on it. And that's exactly what he did in this song, and I love that he did that. That just says something to his craftsmanship, his music ability, his composition. Yeah, there's a part in here at 1:56 where he says breaking, and he has this grit to it that it's almost like an onomatopoeia. Like you can hear in his vocals the word breaking, like break. Just listen, y'all see what I mean. The way he said break, that power and the emotion and the B, just I love his vocals. Because he could have just said breaking what's left of every voice inside my head. Like, he could have just said it normally, but the fact that he chose to put that oomph in it, that break, Like, it's exactly what that word sounds like. It to have that rawness to it, because the word break is like, snap, break. And he put that power into it. I think that was a very cool sonic choice that he did. And Parker's vocal solo at the bridge in this song, I wrote Chef's Kiss, because it is. It's so good. It starts off really quiet. The way he started falsetto and low and like really clean vocals going, singing the same verse again with that passion and the power of his, quote, yelly voice, also says something to Parker's musicianship and his vocals. How he doesn't always yell. He does a lot in this album, and just in general, that's just how his voice is. That's how he comes across. That's like how he sings. Is very powerful and aggressive. But I love that he did that quiet, I don't wanna wake up, but then goes, I don't wanna wake up, and like really like lets it out. Just even tie that to the lyrics, I don't want to wake up, being like, when someone tries to wake you up and you're like, oh, I don't want to wake up, and then they keep trying to wake you up, and then you go like, oh, stop, like, I don't want to wake up, like, I don't know, that's what I tied it to. Not like literally, like, I know that's not exactly what he's saying, but like, sonically taking it like that, I thought that was really cool. I think it ties into the message. Track 8 is called Aimless, and it is the title track of the album. And this song means so much to me. I had just graduated high school, and I had no idea what I was doing, like what I was going to do with my life. And I don't remember what exactly I was thinking about or what I was going through, but I remember in my bedroom by myself, I closed the door and I just laid down on the floor and I started just staring, and I was just off in a daze. And I grabbed my phone and I just hit shuffle. Like, I just took my phone, pulled out my music, hit shuffle. Aimless was the song that came on. And there's a line that, the whole song lyrically is incredible. And it really, I related to it in this moment that I was feeling like lost, and I didn't know what I wanted to go to college to do. Like, I knew what college I was going to go to, but I didn't know like what I was going to do. I'm going out of state into a different place. There's just, all these unknown factors of the future that you don't know what's going to happen, and you feel lost and scared, and there's all these feelings. And at the end, there's a line. I was laying on the floor. I was just off in a daze. I was listening to this song. It was playing. And all of a sudden, the lyrics at the end say, why can't I be calm? Because I know that I can't be the only one without a plan. And as soon as those lyrics hit, you know what? I'll just play it right now, because I didn't even do that justice. Why can't I be calm? 'Cause I know that I can't be the only one without a plan. Why can't I be calm? And that, laying on the floor, I started crying. I just absolutely bawling. Just the fact that someone else out there in the world at some point had felt the exact same way that I was feeling in that moment was just incredible. Almost mind-boggling, the fact that I didn't even skip the song. I literally grabbed my phone, pressed shuffle, and this was the song, and I listened to the whole thing. It's exactly what I needed in that moment of my life, and it was such a surreal experience. The way that they sing it too, there's so much power, especially in Kevin's voice, that he exudes more at this end, because it's almost like a cry, why can't I be calm? I know I'm not the only one going through this. I know I'm not the only one without a plan. There's this helplessness almost of there's this anxiety that is happening, and you're not the only person on the planet feeling this way, or not knowing what you're going to do with your life, or not knowing what the next step is. Why can't I just relax and take that for what it is and be calm? Nobody has their life together. Nobody knows what the next day is going to hold. Nobody has life planned out, And this song really hit home for me, especially in that moment of me not knowing the future after high school. And that line specifically, just, no wonder the song's called Aimless. No wonder the album's called Aimless. We're all aimless in this life. We all, we don't know where we're going or what's happening next. This song is my favorite on the album. Incredible. The last song on the album is called Helping Hands, and I think it perfectly wraps up the album, lyrically but also instrumentally. It ends acoustically. The song itself ends just with an acoustic outro, which is perfect because the whole album is acoustic, but it gives this mellow, closing feel. And the song kind of talks about, in my opinion, it talks about falling short and needing a helping hand to lift you up and guide you. We all need somebody. We can't go and walk through this life alone. We all need somebody to help us take the next step, This song, almost in the way that he sings it too, in what he's talking about, it sounds like it's just a cry for help, There's this helplessness in which you need a helping hand, in what the song is called. And he says in one of the lyrics, he says, "So please don't take this song so lightly. Since I lost or I can't see, I hate myself for thinking freely." It's literally a cry. Don't take this song so lightly. This is what I'm here. I'm saying these things, help type of a thing, And this song coming directly after the song Aimless is just perfect. I mean, he ordered these songs in such a perfect way. I would not want these songs to be in a different order. The way he laid it out is so exact. There are so many lyrics in this album that just relate to aimlessness. I wrote some of them down, but some of them are: lose my lifeline, turn back time, worthless days between the good memories, for every day that's wasted away, I'll stay in my bed, I'll keep acting like I'd rather be dead. I know a lot of people that do that, We're all just aimless. He says, I've been misled before. All attempts have fallen to the ground. I'm anxious. All of these thoughts and these feelings are all something that we as humans all go through and all have been through and can all relate to. And that's what I think the longevity of this album has so much potential. People don't know about this album, and it makes me really sad, because even fans of the story so far don't know this album, and they don't know that Kevin made a solo side project thing 10 plus years ago. And that makes me sad, because this album is so good. It's so relevant lyrically to people's lives and their feelings and their emotions about life and the future and having unknowns and having dreams that we don't know where they're going to take us. It's just, there's so much that we can all relate to, and he kind of encapsulated it pretty perfectly. Especially with it being an acoustic album too. Like, I can hear like my grandparents listening to this album and enjoying it, you know? It's not an aggressive piece of work. It's not a genre that's like, you know, he doesn't scream. There's not like screaming in it. There's not aggressive guitars or electric. There's not weird sounds. There's nothing like inappropriate lyrically or anything. Like, there's nothing explicit. The vibe is just acoustic guitars. It's really mellow. It's really chill. It's just one of those albums that you can throw on, and, you know, I feel like everybody and anybody can like listen to it and enjoy it. You know, there's not like necessarily an acquired taste. It's one of those things that everybody can relate to it, and everybody can listen to it and find something from it. And I think that's what's really powerful about it. I think the replay value is also really high. I've listened personally to this album so many times. Like, I don't know how many times, but a lot. It's just one of those things that it doesn't really go out of style. Again, it's not a type of album where you have to be in the mood for. It's just a chill, low-key. It's not wild in sound, you know. It's very, you know, you can just put it on whenever. And I think that's good. The performability live, I think, is questionable because there are so many technical guitar parts. But, you know, if you had like 2 or 3 other Kevin Geyers on stage, I think it would be phenomenal. Like, it would sound, if he could somehow perform this album live, I would drop all the money in the world to go see that. But because there are so many technical acoustic guitar parts layered over top of each other that he wrote and recorded all himself, I don't think, legitimately, it wouldn't work in the perfect way. Like, it wouldn't sound the same. I think he could, if he did perform these songs live, he could do it. It just wouldn't sound the same because he would only have either 1 guitar part or 2 guitar parts, but the other person would probably, it would be like a modified guitar part because he is so skilled and technical in his finger picking that it's like, I don't think anybody could replicate. I would be surprised and shocked, pleasantly, if somebody could replicate any sounds on this album because he is just such a unique guitarist. He has a lot of skill when it comes to him playing guitar. I think that's all I've got with this album. This one we did Aimless by Kevin Geyer. I guess if I had to rate it out of 10, I would probably give it at least an 8, for sure. I don't know decimal points what I would, like if we're going to go that technical and that deep in it, but it would definitely be at least an 8 in my book. Just solely for skill, guitar-wise, and lyric-wise, and the fact that Parker Cannon sings on it is just, that fact alone, it might even bump up to a 9. Who knows? But anyway, that's all for this episode. Catch you guys on the flip.